A tiny baby crawled toward a massive dog 10 times his size. His parents froze in terror, unable to move. The giant Newfoundland lowered his head, and what happened next left everyone speechless. Before you watch, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss another touching story like this one. And write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. The late-day sun spread across the wooden floor, making every hair of the huge Newfoundland's coat shine like gold. His name was Bear, and when he sat down, he looked like a living hill in the center of the living room. His head nearly touched the side of the beige couch, and his paws were bigger than a large dinner plate. On the carpet right in front of him sat Ben, not quite a year old, dressed in a soft white outfit from head to toe. His little legs stuck out at funny angles, as if his small body still hadn't learned how to stay balanced. But his eyes, round, bright, and full of curiosity, stayed locked on the giant dog before him. "Keep him away," Sarah whispered sharply from the couch. Her fingers gripped the corner of a cushion so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Worry made her shoulders stiff with tension. On the other side of the room, her husband Michael knelt on one knee, watching closely. "Sarah, he's okay. Bear understands. Look, he's staying perfectly still." "That's exactly what scares me," Sarah replied quickly, her voice low but firm. "He's not predictable. One hit, one mistake." She couldn't finish the sentence. Her eyes never left her baby, who was sitting fearlessly in front of a dog 10 times his weight. Ben's tiny hand reached forward, small and unsteady. His little fingers opened and closed as he tried to touch the thick, dark fur. Soft sounds came from his mouth, then grew louder. "Da, da." Sarah started to stand up. "Michael, I swear if he gets any closer." "Shh," Michael stopped her, raising his hand. His face showed worry too, but there was also a quiet calm in his eyes. He had grown up around dogs, and Bear had never shown a mean streak. Still, even he felt his heart racing when Ben pushed forward and placed his little hand right on Bear's broad chest. The big dog took a quick breath. His ears twitched, his head lowered slightly, and his eyes focused gently on the baby. The sound of his deep breathing filled the room. "Oh, Michael," Sarah's voice broke. Bear didn't bite. He didn't growl. The complete silence and the way the moment stretched made it almost unbearable. Then Ben, still swaying, made a happy little sound. To his parents' complete shock, he spread his tiny arms wide and leaned forward, trying awkwardly to hug the dog's neck. His whole body tipped with the movement. Sarah gasped sharply and moved forward, but Michael caught her arm. "Hold on, just watch." Ben didn't get far. His body leaned dangerously to one side. His head was about to hit the hard floor when Bear moved with surprising gentleness. One massive paw covered in thick fur slid forward carefully and landed right beside Ben's back, steadying him like a living support. Sarah froze, her mouth open in disbelief. He stopped him from falling." Ben laughed out loud and happily patted the big paw as if it were his favorite toy. He made excited baby sounds and then pressed his face into the soft, warm fur. His whole body relaxed, as if he had just found the safest place in the world. Bear blinked slowly, his head lowered gently until his nose stopped just inches from the baby's small face. His warm breath softly moved Ben's fine hair. "He's choosing to keep him safe," whispered Michael, almost too quiet to hear. But Sarah still had doubts. She stayed close, her hands trembling. "Michael, he's still just an animal. You can't be sure what he's thinking." "Just look at him," Michael replied softly. "If he wanted to hurt Ben, he's had more than enough chances already." Ben reached up clumsily and touched Bear's big nose, then tugged on the long hairs around it. Sarah's heart jumped with fear, but Bear only let out a gentle breath through his nose and half closed his eyes, calmly accepting the baby's rough affection. Then came the moment that stopped time itself. Ben sat back, his eyes shining with joy, and said one simple word in his sweet baby voice: "Hug." His little arms spread wide again, reaching toward the enormous head. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Her hands flew to her chest. "Michael, stop him, please!" But Michael couldn't move. His own heart was pounding so loudly he could hear it in his ears. Ben leaned forward, arms still outstretched, waiting with pure trust. Bear's entire body suddenly went rigid, every muscle tensed, his eyes locked on the baby with such intensity that Sarah's blood ran cold. For 3 long seconds, maybe 4, nothing moved. The whole room seemed to hold its breath. Sarah's vision blurred with tears of panic. "Michael," she whispered, her voice breaking, "do something!" Michael's hand trembled as he started to reach forward. But then, Bear moved, so slowly it felt unreal. His massive head began to lower inch by inch. Sarah covered her mouth with both hands, stifling a sob. The dog's jaw was now dangerously close to Ben's tiny face. One wrong move, one sudden instinct, that's all it would take. Ben's tiny fingers stretched eagerly toward the huge head coming down toward him. "Please," Sarah breathed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Bear's eyes never left the baby. His body continued to sink lower and lower. His belly touched the floor, then his chest. He pressed himself down, making himself as small as a dog his size possibly could, until finally his great head came to rest gently, perfectly inside the circle of Ben's tiny outstretched arms. For one frozen moment, nobody dared to breathe. Then Ben let out a loud squeal of pure joy that shattered the tension like glass. He buried his face deep into the thick fur, his small hands disappearing in the soft coat, giggling uncontrollably. Sarah collapsed back onto the couch, her hand pressed over her heart, gasping for air she didn't know she'd been holding. Michael's legs nearly gave out. "Did you see what he just did?" he whispered, his voice shaking with emotion. Sarah couldn't speak. She could only nod, tears pouring down her face, but these were no longer tears of fear. They were tears of something much deeper, something she had no words for. Bear remained perfectly still in Ben's embrace. His eyes were soft now, his breathing calm and steady, as if this was exactly where he was always meant to be, as if he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. "He chose him," Michael said, his voice thick with emotion. Sarah wiped her face with trembling hands. For the first time in several minutes, she could finally breathe again. They both understood that what they had just witnessed was something rare, delicate, and impossible to forget. "Protect him," she whispered. Sarah sat down on the couch, her body still shaking. "I can't believe what I just watched," she said quietly. Michael moved closer, his throat tight. "It's not just chance, Sarah. Bear knows he's handling him like his own family." Ben shifted suddenly, trying to climb higher, his hands getting tangled in Bear's fur. For a second, it looked risky. Sarah began to stand up again, ready to step in, but Bear moved first. With incredible care, the dog lifted one massive paw and placed it gently across Ben's legs, holding him safely in place, keeping him steady. Ben made happy sounds and patted the big paw with his tiny hand. "Big! Big!" he said in his adorable baby voice. Michael laughed softly. "He's right, much bigger than he'll ever know." Sarah pressed her hands together, her voice a little steadier now. "What if someday it changes? What if Bear forgets?" Michael turned to her, his eyes calm and certain. "He hasn't forgotten once in 5 years we've had him. If anything, he's showing us his true nature right now." Ben pushed forward again, his head bumping clumsily against Bear's nose. The dog didn't pull away. Instead, he gently pushed back just enough to make Ben burst into another round of giggles. The sound of the baby's laughter filled Sarah's chest with overwhelming relief and joy. "I was ready to grab him," she said quietly. "I was so sure this would end badly." "And now?" Michael asked. Sarah's eyes filled with fresh tears, but this time they were tears of wonder.
She couldn't speak. She could only watch as Bear slowly shifted his whole body into a more comfortable resting position, lowering himself until Ben was safely leaning against his warm side. His thick fur became a natural blanket around the baby, who snuggled even closer, as if he had found the most secure and loving place in the entire world. Suddenly, Ben opened his mouth in a big yawn. His body relaxed completely, his face pressed deeper into the soft brown fur, and within moments, his breathing slowed into peaceful sleep. Bear stayed perfectly still, eyes open and alert, ears twitching slightly as he listened to every sound in the house. His gaze shifted protectively from Ben to the room, then to Sarah and Michael, as if quietly warning anyone not to come too close. Michael put his arm around Sarah's shoulders. "You see it now? He's not just our dog. He's family." Sarah nodded, tears still tracing down her cheeks. "More than family. He's keeping him safe." And in that quiet living room, a silent agreement was made, one between enormous power and pure innocence, between deep
Did you enjoy this story? If you were Sarah in that exact moment, watching your baby reach out to hug that massive dog, would you have trusted the dog and let it happen? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another heartwarming story like this. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.